seconds before you go walk out the door. And if I could...
Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be kind of like, I'm in a teaching mood, so kind of like the art of a halo smoky eye. Halo smoky eyes can go completely right or they can go completely left. I usually don't know how mine are going to turn out until I'm finished, and then I'm like, okay, you look okay. But sometimes they can look just kind of all over the place. So we are going to do that, and the throwback palette that we are using is the Tartiest Pro palette. If you've watched any of my videos from about a year ago, you know I was obsessed with this palette. I love the palette. It's expensive, but it's worth every single penny. Mainly because, and the reason I say that is because of all of the mattes that you get in this palette. You get this corner full of mattes, so there are 16, wait, no. Yeah, wait. Yes. There are 16 mattes in this palette, and then you get 4 shimmer, kind of foiled, kind of like duochrome-ish kind of eyeshadows. So the main reason I love this palette is because you have these two slithers are the two main like matte shades that I use. These two are a little bit lighter, so you have some lighter, softer tones for lighter skin tones, and then you have deeper and darker tones for darker skin tones. So I love that Tarte put that, you know, that kind of thought into this palette. It also smells so good. It smells like cake or something like that. And then you have a bronze, which is a staple, a champagne, which is also a staple, and then you have two kind of like, I don't want to say pops of color, but two colors, which is like a minx and trendy, which is the shade that we're using today in today's look. So this look was originally inspired by this picture that I saw on Facebook. It looks like this. My look turned out nothing like it, mainly because the palette I was using, I didn't have enough oranges, but I'm Lonyea, so I'm going to put my own twist to it. So, anyways, we are going to start this look off. So, I am just finishing up priming my lids. I use my MAC Studio Finish, my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. It's the one that comes in the jar. And I just pump it onto the back of my hand. I'm just using a fluffy brush to apply it and to smooth it out. It goes on wet, and then it finally dries down to a matte, semi-matte finish. So I just kind of let it kind of get a little tacky, like leave it a little tacky. But if you want, you can always go in and set this with a setting powder if you want to. I personally don't set my concealer with a setting powder. I don't know why. I just never have. I feel like I get much better payoff and pigment when it's not set. Once again, looking at this palette, you guys, you get a ton of color choices. You have some more taupey, kind of vanilla-y shades over here. These shades, if you love a neutral smoky eye, are perfect for brow bone highlights or even a neutral smoky eye. And then you get some purples and pinks here in the corner, 2 lighter pinks, and then like a berry kind of color. You get an orange reddish brown shade, so a warm transition shade. You also have a light brown and a dark, deep, rich brown. And then you get a dark purple, which I mentioned you don't have a lot of dark purples in a lot of palettes. And then a matte black. So you get a lot of matte staples. This is why I love this palette. I love to travel with this palette. Even if I'm just going to bring a single eyeshadow to kind of go with this palette is pretty much all you need as far as mattes and different colors. So when looking at this palette, the different ways that you can make color combos, excuse me, you can use Minx as a lid, and then use Drama, and I think this is Whimsy as a transition shade, and then deepen it with purple or black. You can use just the browns, the warm transition shade, the browns, and a bronze or the champagne shade. There's just so many different looks that you could do using this palette. Okay, so I had a little bit of technical difficulties with my camera, so I don't even know where I was. But we are going to start this makeup look, just start and get it together. I'm going to take Whimsy, and this is the orange shade in the palette, and I'm taking it on a Morphe blending brush. I don't know the number of this brush, but this is going to be my transition shade. I always go in with like a warm shade for my upper crease area. That's just my comfort zone. Some people like cooler tones. I just prefer warm up here. I think it just adds, it just looks good. It just looks good. So I am going to just work this up here. And this brush is out of the iCredible brush set from Morphe. If you guys are wanting to invest in some brushes and you don't know what brushes you want, I would suggest that brush set. So next I'm going to take the shade Mod, which is the hot pink shade in this palette, and I'm taking this on a Sigma E25 blending brush, and this is just going to be my crease shade, which is the bridge between the transition shade and the, well, this is the bridge shade. So the transition shade was the orange shade, and this is the middle shade that's going to go in between the crease and the transition. Does that make any sense? I hope that makes sense. So with this shade, I am just mainly keeping this off of the lid area, but going back and forth and side to side motions, and just keeping the shade pretty high up because you want this to peek through and lightly show up. You don't want it to be too overpowering because we don't want the pink to be too crazy, but just enough. Just enough. Just a tad bit. So now one of my favorite colors out of this palette, we're going to take Vamp, and this is a Morphe blending brush. I spoke about this in yesterday's video. This is the pointed blending brush. It comes to a point, so it really makes getting into the crease, whether you're doing a cut crease or a halo eye in this instance, really easy. So with this shade, I am just going to pack this out here in this outer corner, and just in patting motions, just to place it where I want it to be. And then after that, I'm going to start to kind of do like side to side swiping motions, and then start to blend this out here. So with this color, I just really, honestly, you guys, continue to pack on the color until I get the most pigmentation, like make it pigmented. And then after that, I'm going to take more of that and I'm going to pack that into this inner corner. So when you're doing a halo smoky eye, it's pretty much a sandwich. So you're going to put your red on one side, which in this instance is your crease color, and then you're going to put your red on the other side, which once again is your crease color, and then you're going to connect the two in a swooping motion in this crease, like right where the socket of your crease is. That is where you want to connect the two. So it kind of creates like a rounded halo instance. So now I'm just gonna start to continue to go over these shades and deepen and darken them. Purple is a really fun color to deepen and darken because you can take a little or you can take a lot and continue to build up from that. So now that I have that color placed down, you can pretty much see where the middle part of your eyelid is. That is the halo part. It would be really cool if you left it like this, but I am going to do another sandwich method on the center of my lid. So right now I'm just taking concealer from the back of my hand, and I am going to bring this up to the crease because, as I've mentioned multiple times, if I don't and I look down, all of what's on this part right here will transfer up into the upper crease and it'll just look a mess. So I'm just gonna apply the concealer there and just tap out the edges. So now for the lid shade, I'm going to put this shade. This is called Trendy. I'm going to put this all over the lid, and I'm using one of my favorite lid brushes. This is an E57 a firm shader brush from Sigma. And this color would be really, really pretty just alone, but I decided to be extra and take it up a notch. And the reason I'm choosing this color over, say, the champagne shade is because this blue Trendy shade is a duochrome, so it has some blues and it also has some purples in it, and it's kind of like a MAC blue brown. It's like a sister of MAC blue brown, or Utopia from Sigma, or I'm sorry, from Makeup Heat. So I am just putting this into the inner corner and fading out the edges. And with the edges, you can go back in with a brush if that would be easier for you. But sometimes I just take the brush and just lightly, with very, very, very light pressure, and whatever is left on the brush, just take that and kind of go along the sides. And then, like I said, because I was being extra today, I'm going to take the shade Glam, which is the champagne shade. I'm going to take the other side of that brush and just put Glam right in the middle, just kind of for like another halo effect. And it just brings the light directly into the center of this eye look. And then, like I said, take a little bit more of Vamp and I just lightly run it over the edges. So you guys, that is pretty much the art of a halo smoky eye. A lot of patience, a lot of practice, because this is not the easiest technique. I don't even remember when and how I learned how to do it, but I know it took a lot of practice, like just sitting down and doing it. So I'm gonna do my face. Y'all already know the drill, and then I'll come back for the lips. What's the feel? Say what? Who's that? Okay, you guys, so as far as the lower lash line, you know what, I'm going to get a different eyeliner. So I was going to do a purple eyeliner, but I'm actually going to go in with this teal one. This is a L'Oreal Silka Simi eyeliner in the shade True Teal. Really, really pretty. Oh, I should probably sharpen this. I love these eyeliners. They are really, really, really silky. Super silky, and they glide on amazingly. Okay, so for the lower lash line, the first thing I always do is define it. So I'm going to take this, after I tuck my hair back, don't mind my edges, but I'm going to take this flat definer brush from the Timbuk brush, and I am going to go from the inner corner, because I'm not going to be putting a inner corner highlight. So I'm going to take this really close, and pretty much what I'm doing is kind of like stamping it across the lower lash line. And then I'm going to move it side to side, kind of like, yeah, like, kind of like side to side motions. And if you want, you can use, like, the brush that we put in the crease. You can use that. But what this is pretty much doing is defining this lash line so the blue really pops against this purple. You don't have to do this at all, but I want you guys to get comfortable with doing your lower lash line if possible, because it's really not that daunting of a task. It's not that hard. It just takes, you know, just a little bit of patience and a little bit of practice. So after that, I'm going to take that same pink shade, which is called Mod, and I'm just going to use that to go right underneath and just kind of smoke that out. And I did create a sharp edge out here with my concealer, but I'm just going to messy that up a little bit. Oh, you guys, I also ended up adding glitter right over that champagne, and this is a NYX crystal liner. It's a dramatic sparkle in the shade Crystal Silk. So I just went ahead and just put it right over where I applied that champagne shade out of the palette. So pretty much the only thing left is lips, and I am going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick in the shade Potion. It's a dark purple. I don't know. You know what? I haven't done a dramatic eye with the dramatic lip in a while, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Alright, you guys, so that pretty much wraps up the video. That wraps up my look. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This one, I haven't done a look like this in a while, you guys, so I'm like low-key loving it. It's more dramatic, it's more poppin', it's more out there, but it's definitely something that you should practice. I don't feel like you should put yourself into this little box of what I'm comfortable in. You should always push your boundaries, push your limits, push your comfort zone, anything like that. You should definitely do that, you guys. So, yep, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something new. If you're not subscribed, which I know you are because you guys are my family, and you guys, y'all hit the like button before you finish. Y'all comment before you finish. I love you guys. I love reading your comments. If you are one that never comments, please leave me a comment. I love reading them. I love responding to you guys. Even if it is just to say gorgeous. I love just seeing comments. Also, let me know what you liked or didn't like about this video. And that is pretty much it, you guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah. Oh, also, leave me another palette suggestion. Tomorrow's palette is going to be, I think I'm going to do the Morphe 35O tomorrow. yeah, I think I might do the 35O tomorrow because I know a lot of people have that palette. But if you have other palettes, I have the Lorac Unzipped palette, if you remember that palette from back in the day. I have, what other palettes do I have? I have the Master palette by Mario, if you have that. I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Self-Made palette, which I loved that palette. I do have the Carly Bible palette and the Jaclyn Hill palette. You know, just let me know. Oh, and I have the Juvia's Place, the Grain palette, so I think it's like the Nubian or something. I only have one of those, but I can do a tutorial using that palette too. So nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoy it. I love you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.